Have you ever walked into a room and before you even consciously realized what was happening, your body just braced itself? Your shoulders tightened, your breathing got a little shorter, and a sudden heavy wave of exhaustion washed over you, simply because there was too much stuff, too much noise, or too much visual clutter around you. On the surface, people might call you particular. They might say you are difficult to please, or joke that you have a mild obsession with cleanliness. When you snap because there are too many things on the kitchen counter, or when you suddenly withdraw in a crowded room, they might look at you and say, "Why are you making such a big deal out of this? It is just a shirt draped over a chair. Just ignore it." But what if you literally cannot ignore it? What if your reaction has nothing to do with being difficult, and everything to do with a nervous system that is fundamentally wired to process every single detail in your environment? Let us look a little deeper into what is actually happening inside you. To understand this, we need to talk about the invisible filter in your brain. For most people, the nervous system comes with a fairly thick built-in filter. When they walk into a messy room or a noisy cafe, their brain automatically blocks out about 80% of the unnecessary background information. They see the big picture. They see a table, a chair, and a cup of coffee. But for someone with a high degree of sensory processing sensitivity, that neurological filter is incredibly thin. Sometimes it feels like it is completely torn. You do not voluntarily choose to pay attention to the clutter. Your brain is forced to see and process all of it. Where a normal person just sees a book on a desk, you see the book, the slightly crooked angle it is sitting at, the shadow it casts, the half-empty glass of water sitting precariously close to the edge, and the microscopic layer of dust on the table. Your brain registers every color, every shape, every subtle shift in lighting, and every overlapping sound in the room. And it treats all of that information as highly important data that needs to be processed right now. This is why you often feel a physical response before an emotional one. Your body recognizes the threat of visual noise before your logical mind can intervene. Your throat tightens and your hands might clench because your inner alarm system is going off, warning you that there is too much stimulation to safely handle. If we look at this through the lens of cognitive overload, your brain is essentially a smartphone running on a limited battery. Every single item sitting out of place in your environment is an app running in the background. The unread mail on the table, the laundry piled in the corner, the 3 continuous notification chimes from a group chat. You are not actively interacting with them, but they are constantly draining your attention battery just by existing in your field of vision. This explains a behavior that is so often misunderstood by the people closest to you. Have you ever found yourself suddenly irritable at the end of the day, snapping at someone for no logical reason, even though you did not do any heavy physical labor? Or have you ever come home, placed your phone face down on the nightstand, and pulled the blanket completely over your head? You do it not because you are actually sleepy, but because your mind simply has no room left for even one more flashing light or one more question. Your exhaustion does not come from a place of weakness. It comes from the fact that your nervous system is working twice as hard as everyone else's, just to exist in the exact same space. You are processing a massive amount of invisible weight that no one else in the room can see. And when that weight becomes too heavy, your body has to find a way to survive the overload. This brings us to a very specific, almost frantic behavior that many highly sensitive people develop. Have you ever been completely exhausted, running on empty, yet you find yourself suddenly standing up at midnight to frantically clean your room, organize your desk, or delete old files from your computer? To the outside world, this sudden burst of activity looks like you are just being productive. Or, if you live with others, they might think you are passively aggressively cleaning because you are secretly annoyed with them. But psychologists call this a compensatory behavior. When the internal world feels unpredictable, overwhelming, or completely out of your control, your brain desperately looks for something physical that it can control. You borrow the physical action of organizing your environment to soothe the terrifying loss of control over your emotional state. Every single object you put away, every old receipt you throw out, and every unnecessary file you delete from your desktop is a small hit of agency. It is a silent, physical way of telling your nervous system that you are safe, that you still have boundaries, and that you are still the one deciding what gets to stay in your life and what has to leave. This is the hidden truth about why some people become so deeply attached to minimalism, or why they are so bothered by clutter. They are not trying to curate a perfect aesthetic lifestyle for social media. They are building a physical barrier against emotional and cognitive exhaustion. Think about what happens after a major life event, like a severe burnout at work or a period of intense grief. Some people cry loudly. Others go completely silent and start walking around their apartment with a garbage bag. First, the obvious things go. Then, the things that just take up space, until the room feels bare and quiet. From the outside, this looks like getting your life together and moving on. But on the inside, it might be the only way you know how to make the wreckage inside your chest feel a little less suffocating. One cleared surface at a time. When you throw away things that are taking up unnecessary space, you are not just emptying a room. You are emptying out the noise in your head. For someone with a highly sensitive nervous system, a blank wall is not boring. A blank wall is a place to rest. An empty table is a promise that nothing else is going to demand your attention today. If you have spent your whole life being told that you are too sensitive or too easily overwhelmed, I want you to look at it from a completely different angle. Your need for less stuff and less noise is not a character flaw. It is the profound survival intelligence of your nervous system. Your brain knows exactly how much capacity it has. It knows that you feel things more intensely and read the mood of a room more deeply than the average person. And it is desperately trying to protect the one resource that actually matters to you: your inner peace and your mental clarity. You are not wrong for needing a quiet room with nothing on the walls. You are not broken because you cannot function in a chaotic or overly loud environment. You just have a radar that is incredibly sensitive, which allows you to experience the beauty and emotions of the world very deeply. But the cost of having that kind of depth is that you need a much quieter charging station than everyone else to recover. You do not need to force yourself to tolerate the noise just to seem normal. So the next time you feel the overwhelming urge to step away from a messy room or to close your bedroom door and just be alone in the quiet, do not judge yourself. You are simply honoring what your body has been asking for all along. Now, I want to ask you a question. Are you the type of person who recharges your energy by going out into a crowded place? Or are you the type who needs a closed door and absolute silence to finally breathe again? Let me know in the comments below.